Hello, I'm Dave Lawrence, California Type Foundry. Check out our fonts at calfonts.com and enjoy this FontLab 7 video. Okay, let's take a look at the font that we are doing. I am going to be showing you just some of how you can work on a font in FontLab 7. This is such a great program. I really enjoy working on it. And I'm not saying that lightly because I've worked in a ton of programs. I've done music notation. I've worked in programs like Sibelius Finale. I've done InDesign. A little bit of Photoshop and Illustrator, you know, all the standard spreadsheets, all that stuff. And I really like working in this program a lot. I feel very comfortable in it. It really can adjust to your workflow because it's just really customizable. You can see I probably over customized it. Even some certain projects, I create my own workspace just for that project. It has quick keys. I have a gamer's mouse, and I've used that mouse to switch. This only has two. Let me see here. I don't think that's going to work for this one because it just has the mask here. It doesn't have another layer. But I have if you push this, that actually changes your master. So if you put that on a thing like your mouse, then you can quickly go from master to master really fast. So say if there's something wrong with one of your symbols, your Y, in one master, you can go quickly and check it in other masters. So it's just such a helpful thing. So really good program. Okay, right now what I am doing is I am balancing my letters, just making sure. So there's a couple things I need to make sure. First is, that's not good. That's not right. I want to make sure that these are balanced in general. So what I use this measurements panel, and let me go here and adjust. So I think this is a lowercase, and this is the uppercase serif thickness. I want them all, my original artwork, they were all pretty different, so I don't want to have those quite that varied. Here you can see I have some inflections. Those are on purpose because I want it to sort of have this foot to look like this sort of thing here. Okay, I showed a lot of space bars because I was holding on it to show you it. Okay, so this is really around 14 for this. Let me check out my I. So just type it in your keyboard, the letter, and it goes right to it. Okay, let me see here. 12, but that's thicker. Okay, that one we're going to have to just check visually. Yeah, some of these we're going to have to just adjust the serifs visually because see, that's 19. So this one looks like he's too much. So we're going to pull him up a little bit, but I want to go back to preview. I would see we need to put him with things like the H. Oh yeah, you can see him there that he's a little bit too much. I think the 14 is the number we're going to use. So what I'm going to do is sometimes with less complicated things, this will automatically populate. But since I have all these curves and stuff, it's sort of like that. I'll just input it on my own. Okay. So those I don't need to really worry about. It's mostly I'm concerned about the serif. I'm concerned about this O thin part here as well. Let me just make sure that's the uppercase. No, that's the overshoot. Let me just check what that is. I think that is already been aligned up. 728 from 12. Okay, that's quite a bit. So what would that be? 28 minus 12 is going to give us 16, right? Okay, and let's take a look down here. Okay, minus 16. Okay, so that is going to be 16. The lowercase is going to be different because it's really a small caps thing. Horizontal, vertical contrast. I'm not sure if I'm going to worry about that percent right now. Mostly I'm concerned about how these things are. This is a little bit different because it's in this number is not really as valid because it's this number here is not really as valid because it's an old style number. Because really, well, we can measure it from the right spot. So let's see here. The shortest point, about 20. It goes to dips to 26 a little bit. Then it goes back up. So I'm going to round it to 27. So hey, that's about the same as our E. Let's check our E and see if that's about the same here. No, we have about a 20. So I'm going to measure it from the thinnest point. You want to make sure to measure it from the same point for each one. So that's going to be a 24. So I'm going to do that. This one I can recalculate because it's going to do that. So that's a plus 12.5%. This I'm not sure about. Let's put that in manually. I'm not sure what I want to do here. So that's a 91 on that side. And this side is smaller. Goes about to an 88. So I'm going to put 91 in there. So what I was saying is that I enter in the numbers over here that, so I do like this is the measurements panel. I do like that panel because it allows me to do a lot of things. So I had just fixed up the U, the H, and the I, and the A is pretty much good. And what I'm doing is I'm labeling them purple. Just, I sort of have a color scheme where red is the worst, then purple, then blue, then the light blue, and then the green. So let's see what we want to do next. Probably want to I want to do maybe the O and get, oh gosh, no, that's so different that I don't even know if I want to mess with them so much. Let me pull up my source file. So this is what I'm using as a source. This is for the 150th anniversary of Bruce Rogers, and this is a font that he did where he took a font and then sanded away all the corners of it to make these sharper, really nice looking cupping, these nice looking serifs, and just all this like that. So I really love this. So you can see if I just show Luca. See, it has a really nice look to it. This is before it's been kerned. So I just love that. I just love that look. Okay, so I'm not sure what to do next. I'm probably going to stick with the straight types of letters, and we're just getting the serifs. So if I look at the L, you can see that his serifs are too thin in comparison to the I. And just that's how the original was, but we want to get them a little bit more even, just so that way, for modern purposes, we want to. So I'm trying to hit a fine line between making it look organic and good, but also making it not be too uneven. Okay, sometimes you get this separation when you have like that. That one's too close on your curves. Okay. So let's go up here. So that is a 15. So that is about right. He just might, I think because he's going up so high, that's why he doesn't feel like it. So I'm going to actually pull those parts down because here's where I think it's feeling too thick. Let's do this. I-L-I. Okay, so I am going to pull him. I don't want to lose too much character, but I do want him to be a little bit more even with where the I is. So I'm going to pull him down just a touch. This is at a 17, and that's partially what's making the other side look thin is when you have another side that's too much. So we're doing 14s or 13, 14s, or 15s is about what we're doing. So that's about right now. Okay, so now let's look. Oops, I keep doing that. Ugh. Okay, that's at about a 15 or 16 also, but I do want to thin them up a little bit to maybe right there. That's about a 14 at the very tip. I think that's pretty good. This part is feeling like it could be a little bit more better. Okay, that's not too bad. This feels thicker than the other parts, and that's just because he gets, the tip is not thicker, it's this part is more thick. So that's why I think I want to pull this down a little bit. That's by 10. Going 10 actually feels pretty good, but I'm going to do it a little bit less at around 5. Okay, let's take a look at this here. So that's pretty good. He feels sort of thin compared to the eye. I'm not sure. I think that's just because he's really thin right here. His thin point is at a different spot, but he's about right. He's about at 80, but I'm just going to make him one bigger to see if that helps a little bit. Now he's feeling too thick compared to the eye. This is a hard one, so it's hard to say exactly which way we should go because now his top looks too thick. Maybe we'll just bring his bottom part out a little bit more. Maybe just this area here. Now I might have an extra inflection point if this, so sometimes I just extend these to see. So I want to bring him out a little bit in like that, okay? So I think that's pretty good. So that's what we're going to do on our L. This part looks too thick compared to some of our other stuff, like the E. Let's see what he's at. He's at a 27. Let's check out the E. 28. Okay, so that's about where the E is. We have a 24 here, and then we have a 24 up here, but then we have a little bit more underneath, which could go a little bit less, actually. I want to take that down a little bit. It feels too much. 27, that would be a 26, 27, and then if we do that, we can pull the L down, because even though it's a different, now it's the same measurement, it doesn't look the same, because the curving is differently. So now that, to me, that feels about the same between these. You could probably try to adjust it more, maybe even bring the L down a little bit more, I don't know. But that's feeling pretty good. It's just it swells differently here, so it's never going to be exactly equal. So that's just what you're dealing with. So let's color that. Let me move this down a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm adjusting the serifs right now, and we're just doing the width first. Right now the length is all uneven, but I found that it's like when you think of more things like that, then it becomes more difficult. So I'm just trying to do one thing at a time. These are supposed to be around 14. So we have to look here and just see what looks right. That is partially not looking right because now this tip is looking like he is bulging. So we just want to pull that back a little bit and see if we can't get that look more natural. Okay, what is making this look thin compared to the eye is not the end of the tip, it's more of how it rounds right here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to try doing it by 10, pulling that down. See, that changes it a lot. So I'm not going to do quite 10, I'm going to do like whatever I did, 8 or something. Okay, that feels about more right to me. Although this tip could go a little bit like that maybe. But now that's feeling a lot better, okay? Adjusting the length is also going to make us have to tweak it again because once you adjust the length, it's going to change how it feels. So this is the type of thing you're doing when we're doing a more historical font, then this is how we do it more than exact shapes. It's more tracing it, trying to keep some of the imperfection, trying to keep this looking organic and not so computerized looking. I don't really, well, some of my fonts I do the computerized look. Recently I haven't been. I've been working on our Origin series, and those have a more natural curves like this. See, but I still use the orange thing here, which is the curvature tool, which allows us to get it just right. Okay, so that's pretty good there. I do not like how this is here. So this is an example. This is one that I did not have an exact example, so we sort of had to recreate this, but I'm not liking how that's looking. I want that to be closer in here, so that's only like, yeah, only a little bit like the 14 or something in there. Let me see the E. It's going to start disappearing in small sizes. Okay, maybe that's too much because look at the E, that's fairly thicker. So let's bring that up a little bit. Okay, let's see. Okay, I am going to do a harmonize, which I've added as a shortcut. Harmonize is up here. I just saved it right there. Okay, this, I guess that looks okay. That's not sort of in the styling of this one. Okay, he needs to get a little bit, we've been making these around 80. So we're sort of going to use our eye and see what feels sort of equal to the eye. just visually, we're going to figure it out. See, that goes down to 91 there. I mean, that's where the part of it that I'm feeling that, well, that goes to a 91 up here. I don't know. Maybe that is okay. I'm liking how that's looking quite a bit. I feel like these need to be adjusted. The serif length could be out a little bit more. But that's going to be something that we're going to find those numbers later. Okay, let's mark him purple. I'm not going to my fastest right now, just because I'm doing all this talking about everything. So we want to use something that is maybe a T that doesn't have a diagonal yet. Let's see here. Ooh. Okay, he's about 6 more. Does he look it though? Yeah, he looks it a little bit. See, right here is where you feel it. Here, that feels more the same, but in the middle, it doesn't feel right. So I brought him down by 5, but now when I brought him down by 5, this is looking too thin right here. So I'm going to bring him back up a little bit. Brought him up like 3 or something. Now he just might have to look a little thicker in places if we want to sort of retain his same shape. I think that just might be what is necessary to do. Okay, let's check out now his serif tips. You got that one down to 14. Okay, that's looking a little bit better. This needs to be adjusted to try to get it to the right spot. See, now that part's feeling a little too thin, so we're going to pull this guy up a little bit. We don't want it to feel too thin. Now it's looking a little too thick. Okay, I just save that. Let's take a look at these tips here. And that one's feeling too thick, so we're going to pull them in a little bit more. Let's take a look at the E. Oh, the E tips are a lot thicker too. I'm not sure. Let me look at my source. It's on my other monitor. There's a lot of factors here. It is a little thicker. It feels about the same though. I don't know. Oops. I'm going to make it pretty similar. At least now that size of the T, they're 15 each, so they feel about the same. So I like that. Here's this part here. I want this to be a little bit bigger. Harmonize that. I want it to feel a little fatter on that side. Now I'm not sort of liking how that's looking. Sort of feeling too, the curve doesn't feel gradual enough. That just might be how it is. Okay, yeah, this has an inflection right there. Let's take a look at this. 26s. That's a little bit more than what we want. 24 is better. That's why it looks too thick on the top. So I'm bringing those down to 24. Now let's do 25. I want it a little bit thicker, sort of matching the E. The E has a different shape, which is why he can go more narrow to 24. But since this stays similar shape the whole time, it just doesn't feel like it can go down to 24. And maybe that's down a little too much. I don't know. Okay, that's good enough on him. So we're going to call him purple, magenta. So this is a 19 here, and it just definitely feels like it's not in the styling of the whole thing. It feels like he wants to be, so he's a 16 right now, and that's fine for me. A 16 looks fine. Oh, that's because this one is, let's try to get these to 14s and see what happens. We might want to change our mind about some of that other stuff. Okay, I like to hold down Option and sort of change these like that. And the reason for that, now he's not, it feels like he's not matching. But part of that is his length. His length is going to be adjusted later. And see, this is at 114, but if I look at the eye, he's at a 128 and 136. So that's going to extend out by probably another 10. When we extend that by another 10, that's getting in the ballpark there. This feels like it's not quite right. Wants to be down more. The bracketing looks like it's been tacked on instead of carved out. So I don't like that. Okay, so previously we had just talked about balancing, and this here is the letter alphabet now balanced. And just to show you the difference, here is the previous version. So that's the previous, and then that is everything more balanced. So you can see the differences are pretty subtle, but they are important in getting it to look like a, so that's an older one, and then the newer. See, these differences are very important to getting it look like a modern professional font, but I still didn't want to lose some of the unevenness and some of the inkiness in here. One letter that I thought especially improved was the Y, old and new. Okay, so one thing that I don't like about this old one that is something that people do a lot, I don't like it, is using sharp nodes right here. And the reason I don't like it is because whenever so for sharp nodes, I like things like 90 degrees. That's great, when it's close to 90 degrees over here. But when something is too acute, like if you get something that becomes too sharp, right, then that sort of looks ugly. Or if you get something that is too obtuse, that is getting close to 180 degrees. So that is not good either. So that's not so great. I don't really love that look like that. So what I did in my final version, my more final, this is going to keep changing as the project goes on. I did that, and I just think that everything looks so much more smooth and nice, and that's what I want these letters to look like. So, and the original source does look like that too. If we go to the mask and we sort of just look at this, you can see that there's no real sharp. It's sort of everything is, because of the ink, everything is just sort of going like that. The ink and also the way it was drawn or carved. Okay, so that makes this work out a lot better. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy this video series of FontLab 7, and I hope it helps you out. Thanks.